What a train wreck yesterday Pam Bondi was in front of Congress. Not only that, we have Kash Patel trying to figure out what he's going to say because he has made a fool of himself. Howard Lutnick now is trying to re-justify everything about the lies he's told. Today we're going to talk about what Trump has got to do. Trump receives nightmare news because the poll numbers are killing him right now. And to be honest with you, if you look at midterms, if you look at the next 2 years, nothing is going to get done unless he addresses this and he comes out and takes it over. Today we're going to discuss what he should be doing and what I think that he is going to do. And if he chooses not to, he can kiss the rest of his term goodbye. Let's talk about the future of DOJ. Let's talk about the future of FBI, and let's talk about some of his cabinet. Nancy Mace came out and stated that if you read the unredacted files, it would literally collapse the government. It would shock you of all the big players in it. Now that's heinous and that's terrible. I don't like any of these politicians grandstanding because they're like, we know the secret and you don't. It's time to just let the cat out of the bag and deal with the consequences as a nation. If we don't, we will never heal. Hear me. We will never heal, and we will be under socialist dictatorship in the next 5 years. You don't believe me? Republicans will never win again if they don't solve this problem here. We're going to discuss all of it today. Let's dive in. Hey guys, welcome to our channel. Thank you so very much for being here today. Now let's jump into the stories of the day. First, let's talk about the situation yesterday. You've seen the clips of Pam Bondi. She talks about the Dow Jones, she talks about the NASDAQ, and I understand what she's trying to do, but she's terrible at it. She's never been a good politician. She's really never been a good fit at DOJ. I said this, so you could go back for the last year of me telling you that she is not the pick for DOJ. She has dropped the ball when it came down to Florida in the whole situation with the files, and now she's dropping the ball here. The thing is this, if Trump, this is what Trump should do. He sees his DOJ flailing. The answer is definitely not Trey Gowdy, because he's worse. He sees his FBI leader completely lie in front of Congress. Now, I mean, no joke, I was a huge Kash Patel supporter. I'm talking about, I thought he could be the DOJ juggernaut attorney general. I thought he was going to change everything. And I was wrong. Because, man, he just blew it. Now, is it Bondi or Patel or Bongino or any of these guys' fault? No, they were not on the list. But it is their fault because they chose to talk about transparency and then now they are having to cover it up. I don't know for who. But the bottom line is, it seems like it's a lot of big players. Between Nancy Mace and Lauren Boebert and several others that went and saw the unredactions. Not just the Thomas Massey's, I'm talking about the Republicans. The ones that are more on Trump's side, they're all stating the same thing. If you see whose names are in here, it literally will cause for a collapse. We may need that to heal. Now, I don't want America to collapse, I know that, but if it means all these politicians and all these big leaders start getting prosecuted for the things they've been doing that was evil, like some of the reports on Liam Black and Leslie Wester, it's travesty. It is pure evil. And those people should be prosecuted against. But it does not look like Pam Bondi and Kash Patel are going to do it. Now, Howard Lutnick's situation, where he comes back and tries to justify now he's lying about all this stuff. Here's what Trump should do. Trump should fire Lutnick, Bondi, and Patel. Stop the bleed and just say these people are the ones leading me and they led us wrong. I'm sorry. Trump doesn't apologize. But basically he should fire all of them and say from now on we're going to unredact everything. We're going to release the other 3 million files. We're going to unredact everybody's name other than victims. And the cards will fall where they may. And he should come out and say, warning, you're going to collapse the government. And I want you to understand that I'm releasing this. And this is probably going to hurt me at a detriment, meaning it's going to hurt the next 2 years. I mean, there's nothing going to get done if all these big, powerful people are going to go into courts. I mean, that's going to take over the whole news cycle. But the bottom line is it needs to be done to heal as a nation, but also to even give Trump a shred of support. I'm a Trump supporter, but I'll be honest with you. When you hear all this and see all these files and that everybody's trying to cover it up, makes me sick. Now here's the play. This is what very staunch MAGA people have said. Well, I mean, you know, Obama didn't release it, Bush didn't release it, Clinton was part of it, and Biden didn't release it. Yeah, but here's the thing. None of them promised they would. None of them talked about it. I mean, Kash Patel and Pam Bondi were talking about being the most transparent people in government to get rid of the swamp. Trump said he wants to get rid of the swamp. Now, in respect of the president, he never came out. He never actually said this was one of his 10-point plans to release these files. But I think he knew he had to because of all the questions he was getting. He was like, yeah, sure, I'll look at it. I think that he knows the ramifications of it, and he knows the biggest players. And most of the people know the biggest players. But I believe they know that if it's exposed, it's gonna crash. Not really probably the Washington elite as much as it's going to crash the stock market and the biggest businesses in America and the biggest players in America. But it may be what we need, people. Do we honestly believe that America is going the right trajectory anyways? We thought we were, but my gosh, we can't get out of debt. We can't quit making mistakes as a nation. And this right here is a red herring and a monster scarlet letter on us if we don't fix the problem. So Trump should fire those 3 people. Absolutely today. Fire them all. It may not be their fault. They may actually be covering for this administration or the biggest players in this administration or donors, but the bottom line is they have to be the ones to take the fall for the situation. Kind of like what Mike Waltz did with the Signalgate situation. You got to have the fall guy. J.D. Vance and Trump should come out together along with Marco Rubio because they're the 3 most powerful people in this administration and come out and say, we are standing with the victims. If you saw the picture of Pam Bondi and all the, look, I'm not for these congressional hearings. I think they're all grandstanding. But there was one spot that actually gave you an eerie feeling. Is when the congressman stood up and said, if all the the victims in this room will stand up and make themselves known. Well, they all stood up. It was like 7 or 8 of them. And then they said, has any of these been approached by the DOJ? Has DOJ reached out to any of these? And not a one of them said yes. See, that right there was a very, very bad look on the Trump administration. That they've not even interviewed. Remember Kash Patel stating that, well, if there was more people and more people would come forward, we would know more. And there's the victim standing there and you haven't even interviewed them? The DOJ hasn't even interviewed them? And you have the audacity, even after some of the things that are still redacted but still in the files, shows that some of these biggest players were very, very evil in what they were doing and harming? Have you seen the reports on Leon Black? Have you seen the reports on the Sultan? Have you seen the reports on Leslie Westner? Have you seen the reports on some of these others talking about, certain ages? You may can say, well, that's not criminality yet, but that sure does lead to investigation. And honestly, I'd throw Blanche in there. I'd fire him too. If Trump wants to save his numbers, if he wants to save the midterms and wants to see any sign of anything happening for the next 2 years, and for his legacy, he must uncover all this stuff, even if his name is in there. Now, I believe Trump is like most of these other players, that they were probably not the evil ones. They were not the ones that were being blackmailed. No, they're not the ones that touched all this other stuff. But just like most of the billionaires probably in the world, they knew what was going on. Most of the biggest players in the world knew what was going on. And I think that that's what's going to be exposed in this, is the fact that a lot of these people knew probably how dirty and deviant he was and what he was doing. They just didn't partake in that part of it. And I think that that's the part that's going to be exposed. It's going to show us how dangerous our intelligence and our government and our biggest players were tied in. We're going to talk about it a little bit more. But again, before we go any further, a word from today's sponsor. We're talking about the dangers of the stock market. We're talking about the dangers of collapse in the stock market. We're talking about the ups and downs and how crypto hasn't been very reputable lately. And everybody's tired of these biggest swings. And it seems like the only thing going up is our debts. Well, there's something else that's going up. Gold. Now, if you think back to 2020, since 2020, your money, if you had in the bank or in your safe or under your bed or in majority of the market, your money has lost about 28% of its spending power. Meaning it's not worth anything because of the way that inflation, interest, and the way that our government is spending money. We can't control it anymore because the dollar is flailing and falling. One thing that's been threadbare, not only for just 250 years, but for thousands of years, is gold and silver. That's why I've partnered with Augusta Precious Metals. Go to the link in my description or text the number on the screen. Augusta Metal has helped thousands of individuals diversify their portfolio, their IRAs, their money, the money that they're worried about. They've helped them get some of that money in precious metal and gold. And guess what? It's in a tax advantage situation where it doesn't cost you anything. It doesn't cost you any penalties. Let them walk you through how to put some money in physical gold. It makes it so easy. You know what? I sleep better at night knowing that I'm not worried just about the market and the equities and the dollar. I'm not worried about the dollar crash because I know I have money in something that has been threadbare for millennia, and that's gold. Centuries upon centuries upon centuries, gold has been around. You know, I'm a Christian, I'm a biblical person, so when you look at the Bible and you see all the precious metals and golds, it's like, you know, that proves to me that it's got worth through every civilization and every empire. I don't want to put all my hope in dollar bills because that means I have to put my hope in like government, and that scares me. Put it in something that's got value. Check with Augusta Precious Metals today. When you go to maxlovesgold.com or you text the number below, they're going to send you a guide. It's going to talk about all the ways that they can help you. Please take the time to learn about precious metals, and this is one of the best providers to do it. Has some of the best ratings from the Better Business Bureau, has helped thousands of Americans. Let them help you and get a peace of mind today. Check with Augusta Precious Metals. Go to maxlovesgold.com, text the number below. Then you'll have that peace of mind to know that your money is real money, gold. Check with Augusta today. I want you to listen to this. It says, Nancy Mace came out and stated that if we saw what was these client lists and these files actually unredacted, it would shock the entire world and it would cause for major problems. Now, I don't want to hear that congressmen are telling us that. I want to see the names. I want to see the people. I want to make sure that we actually bust these people for doing wrong. Now, I don't care about their relationships, as in just if they ate dinner with them. I'm not talking about that. I really could care less. I mean, there's a lot of sleazeballs in the world and a lot of politicians that eat with another politician that is just as bad. So don't give me that. I want to know the people that actually committed the crimes, and they're the ones that need to go to prison for it, no matter what power structure they're in. I want you to listen to this right here. Prime example, it says, if we don't do something, what we're going to see is the midterms are done for. We're going to end up in a socialist nation because the Democrats will easily win. They will try to impeach Trump and probably get there because of his handling of the Epstein situation. Not only that, we're seeing the support of Trump's own party going from the 90s into the 80s because of the way his administration is handling the files and lists. See, it's not just the fact that, yes, every administration before this should have exposed it. And to be honest with you, there's probably closer ties to Bill and Bush and even, some of these other families than it probably was to Trump in retrospect. But it does not matter. You are the one that's supposed to show transparency. If anybody in this administration even gets a glimpse of this video, please let the chips fall where they may. And you start releasing these names and you start making arrests. I believe you would solve most of the problems if you just start having perp walks with some of these biggest people and the biggest players and you get to the bottom of it. They have everything they need. And all of a sudden interview these victims and you find a way to protect them. Now, do I like the grandstanding by the Democrats? No, the Democrats had every opportunity to do this. But you know what? One thing I love that the Democrats do, and I want you to hear me out now, is they know how to stomp out the Republicans. They know how to play the offense. They have hid this for 25 years, 30 years too, just like the Republicans. But see, they know how, they have no morals and values, so they are willing to throw every shade under the bus on the Republicans for, quote unquote, holding this down. Now it's just time to release it. Trump should just release it. Pam Bondi should be gone. Kash Patel gone. Howard Lutnick gone. Todd Blanche gone. And just revamp all that. Get people in there that's going to truly be not swampy, but true supporters of Trump. That's the only option that Trump has. This is from a conservative commentator. It says, this scandal is a mortal wound for Trump. And this guy is a Trump supporter. Trump has to do something about it, and or it will never go away, and it will be a tarnishment, just like Nixon's Watergate. And that way you won't see the things that sometimes presidents do that may be good. It will show a tarnishment on his record forever and his family's legacy, all because he's choosing to maybe protect, I don't think himself, but probably some powerful people. Because it truly, if there's something, Raskin and all of them could come out and say that there's all kind of stuff bad about this in Trump. If it was really that bad, they would have exposed it 10 years ago at least. But it's not. So it's a lot of hearsay, a lot of people call in and give tips. But the bottom line is there's a lot of truth to some of this because it's been proven. And now you have victims that are willing to speak. Do not, Trump has got to fix this. Now, I know he can't stand Thomas Massie, but you know what he should do? If he really wants to win back the right, is him and RFK, who had ties to being on the plane with Jeffrey. They should come out with Marco Rubio, J.D. Vance, and even ask Ro Khanna and Thomas Massie to the White House. Discuss it, come up with a plan to release, and start releasing. Fire all these other people, and have a kumbaya for the Republican Party. That is the only way we win. You do that, the markets are still going up like Pam tried to shade over yesterday, and you do the SAVE Act, you're now doing something, and you can move on. But until then, I'm sorry guys, it's over. There's no coming back from this. Not because he chose not to expose it. It's because he's choosing not to after saying he would, and his people being, supposedly the most transparent. Yes, they released 3 million. Great. Now let's do some prosecutions on it. Releasing is not what we want. We don't want just exposure. We want prosecution. We want arrest. It's what we said about the situations with 2020. That's what we said about the situations with the elections. This is what we said about all of it. I don't want you to grandstand and tell me how bad it is. I want you to fix the problem. And that's what Republicans has got to do better. And this is where Trump, if he doesn't want the nightmare news of losing and impeachment and socialism coming under his watch, he's got to fix this now. This week. This week is going to take place. If not, he can kiss it goodbye. Guys, let me know your thoughts on today's video. Again, I am a conservative Trump supporter. Voted for him 3 times. But this is going to be terrible if he does not fix it. Let me know your thoughts on today's video. Who he should fire, who he shouldn't fire, or what should he do? Comment below because we can learn from each other in the comments. Thanks so much for watching. God bless.